AI can copy the look, the colors, the brush strokes, even the way light dances on water. At first glance, it feels convincing, almost magical. But after a few seconds, something feels hollow. It's like staring at a painting of food, detailed, impressive, but you can't taste it. You can't smell it. It leaves you empty. Because while machines can imitate the appearance of a Studio Ghibli film, they miss the one thing that makes it unforgettable. So, here's the real question. Can AI ever capture the human essence of Ghibli? Studio Ghibli movies give me a kind of nostalgia that's hard to explain. They carry this warmth, like a memory of childhood evenings, waiting for the bus in the rain, or watching the sun sink slowly behind the trees. Even if you've never lived those exact moments, the films somehow unlock them inside you. And I'm not alone. All over the world, people feel this same quiet familiarity. It's why Totoro's bus stop scene has become iconic. Nothing really happens. Just rain, stillness, and the anticipation of something magical. Yet, it's unforgettable. Or think about the train in Spirited Away. Chihiro doesn't say a word. The world simply moves past her window, endless water stretching into the horizon. What we're left with is not action, but breathing room. A moment to reflect on everything that came before, and everything still to come. Then there's Princess Mononoke, where even a simple shot of a forest feels alive. Mist drifting, branches swaying, the sound of insects hidden just out of sight. You're not just watching the scene, you're in it. And that's the secret. It isn't only the characters or the drawings that make these films powerful. It's the way Ghibli handles silence, the way they heighten sensory details, and the way they craft atmosphere that lingers long after the credits roll. That's why these movies feel different, because they don't just tell us a story, they invite us to live inside one. There's a Japanese word that captures something essential about Studio Ghibli films. It's called ma. At first, it seems simple. Ma means the space in between. But in reality, it is much more than an empty gap. It is a charged pause, a silence that carries weight and meaning. It's the breath you take before speaking, the hush that lingers after a song ends, the moment when nothing is happening but everything is felt. You can see this most clearly in the train scene from Spirited Away. For almost 2 full minutes, nothing important happens. Chihiro sits quietly as the train glides across a vast stretch of water. Her reflection ripples faintly in the glass, raindrops run slowly down the window, and the world outside feels endless and silent. No dialogue, no action, just stillness. And yet, this stillness is not empty. It speaks louder than words. It allows us to breathe with the character, to sit with her in that moment of exhaustion, fear, and quiet determination. By doing nothing, the film allows us to feel everything. Now think about what happens when AI tries to generate a scene like this. The algorithm is built for efficiency, for constant output. AI clips often look busy. The water ripples are exaggerated, the colors are too bright, the movements are unnaturally smooth. Every frame is designed to impress you instantly, but that constant effort to perform leaves no space for us. There's no pause, no hesitation, no silence that invites us to step inside the world. Instead, the scene feels rushed, shallow, and ultimately hollow. And this is the difference. Ghibli understands that meaning often lives in the silence. It knows that a pause can make us reflect on what came before and anticipate what's to come. It trusts the audience enough to sit quietly, to feel the weight of time, and to fill the silence with our own memories. When Chihiro sits on that train, we're not just watching her. We're remembering the long rides of our own childhoods, the times we felt lost or uncertain, the moments when life slowed down just enough for us to notice the world. That is the power of Ma. It is not absence, but presence. It is not emptiness, but fullness disguised as quiet. And it is something AI cannot replicate, because AI does not know what it means to wait. It does not understand the emotional value of stillness. It only knows how to generate more images, more movement, more detail. But sometimes, the most powerful thing in a story is the moment when nothing happens at all. Touch, sound, air, the small things carry the big feelings in Ghibli. You can almost feel wind slipping through grass, damp air resting on your skin, summer's stickiness, the faint grit of a wooden rail beneath your fingers. You hear cicadas, distant water, and the hush of a train gliding across a drowned landscape. None of it shouts. It surrounds you until you remember what it's like to be there. Here's the short version of the brain story. When your skin brushes a surface, signals travel up the spinal cord, through the brainstem, into the somatosensory cortex, where touch is mapped. At the same time, related signals reach the amygdala, the brain's fast emotional evaluator and a gate to memory. That link, sensation to feeling to memory, is why a single sound, or texture of light, can make a scene land in your chest before you find words for it. Ghibli builds moments to ride that pathway. They heighten subtle cues, then get out of the way. They give you room to notice your own breath and time for your body to answer before your thoughts catch up. Let's try it together. For the next 10 seconds, just listen. Do you feel it? Not a plot point, not a twist, just a place settling around you. That is the feeling these films protect. Now watch what happens when a model imitates the same moment. The reflections are precise, edges clean, motion smoothed. It looks correct, but it doesn't carry weight. No uneven wind, no randomness in the insects, no tiny human interruptions. Breath catching, fabric shifting, a foot easing pressure. Without those micro signals, your body never fully recognizes the world as lived. I can simulate pictures of sensation. It cannot borrow the sensations you've actually had. That's why its scenes feel thin after the first glance. Ghibli doesn't just render what a place looks like, it composes how a place feels to inhabit, then trusts you to finish the circuit, from touch and sound, to emotion, to memory. Another layer of Ghibli's magic is hidden in the way they treat shadows and light. In the forest, sunlight doesn't just pour down in one flat stream. It fractures into shifting patches that dance on the ground. In Japanese, there's a word for this, komorebi. It means the play of sunlight filtered through trees. Soft, dappled, never still. Inside Ghibli's worlds, shadows aren't flaws to erase. They're part of the atmosphere. A lantern casts a pool of glow, but just as important are the corners it leaves in mystery. Darkness isn't feared, it's treasured. This idea comes straight from Japanese aesthetics, captured beautifully in Junichiro Tanizaki's In Praise of Shadows. Tanizaki wrote that Western design seeks to banish darkness, maximizing bright light, removing every trace of shadow. But Japanese tradition learned to guide shadows toward beauty. The contrast between light and dark became a source of subtle richness. Studio Ghibli films embody that philosophy. A dim hallway, a forest at dusk, a paper lamp glowing against surrounding blackness. Each moment uses shadow to build mood, to hold emotion, to remind us of mystery. Now compare that to AI imagery. Machine-generated, Ghibli-style forests often look overexposed, too polished, hyper-clear. The shadows flatten out or vanish entirely. It's efficient lighting, everything visible at once. But it lacks depth. It lacks that gentle uncertainty that makes a place feel alive and a story feel like it's breathing. In Ghibli, light and shadow are characters themselves. Eye knows how to brighten, but it doesn't yet know how to hide, how to let darkness give meaning to the light. Architecture in Ghibli films isn't just background, it's personality rendered in space. Take Yubaba's bathhouse. She rules from the very top, and before Chihiro even meets her, we feel the climb. The elevator ride stretches on, past floor after floor of workers' quarters, until the doors finally open to reveal a world of overwhelming excess. Gold trim, velvet drapery, endless trinkets filling every corner. It feels less like a home, more like a stage set, a performance of power. Yubaba herself is greedy, domineering, larger than life, and her apartment mirrors that perfectly. Now compare it to Zeniba, her twin sister. Her home is tucked away in a quiet thicket, far removed from the bustle of the bathhouse. The approach is humble, lit by a single lamppost. Inside, the cottage feels immediately different. Wooden beams, rough walls, a glowing hearth, and furniture that looks touched by everyday life. Warm, rustic, lived in. If Yubaba's palace screams, "Look at me," Zeniba's cottage whispers, "Welcome, rest here." One space overwhelms, the other embraces. What's important is that neither design is random. The architecture is chosen to reflect the characters themselves, their values, their desires, their emotional core. The buildings aren't separate from the story. They are storytelling. And here's where AI falls short. Sure, a model can transfer styles. It can generate a Baroque palace or an Irish cottage with the right prompt, but it doesn't understand why one style fits one character and another fits her opposite. It knows the look, but not the reason. It can create ornamentation, but not intention. That's the difference. For Ghibli, architecture is never just design. It's empathy in wood and stone, a mirror of the soul. And that's something a dataset of buildings alone can't teach a machine. Let's be fair. AI isn't useless in animation. There are clear places where the technology can help. It can generate quick storyboards to test different compositions. It can propose alternate color palettes, letting a director see how a scene might shift in tone. It can even clean up backgrounds or automate repetitive tasks like rotoscoping. In the hands of artists, those tools could save time and reduce costs. But here's the key. Efficiency isn't meaning. A scene can be produced faster, with fewer hands and more shortcuts. That doesn't make the result any more powerful. What makes Ghibli unforgettable isn't the speed of production. It's the lived experience that informs every choice. The pause on a train ride, the memory of wind moving through grass, the way shadow falls across a tatami mat at dusk. Those aren't things you generate. They're things you notice, because you were present when they happened. Hayao Miyazaki himself was blunt about it. When shown early AI-generated animation, he called it an insult to life itself.
やってればいいだけで、僕はこれを自分たちの仕事をつなげたいとは全然思いません。極めて何か生命に対する侮辱。
For him, observation and direct experience are the roots of animation. Without that, the images might move, but they have no soul. And that's the real limit. AI may make animation more efficient, but efficiency has never been the reason people fall in love with Ghibli films. Here's the truth. Ghibli's secret isn't just the drawings or the craft of animation. It's human experience. The pauses, the silence, the damp air, the warmth of sunlight, the sound of cicadas that remind you of summers long gone. Those things aren't stored in datasets. They're gathered through living. When you watch Chihiro on the train, or Totoro waiting in the rain, the power of those moments doesn't come from technical perfection. It comes from recognition, from the memory of being there yourself, watching raindrops race down glass, hearing your own footsteps echo in an empty station, feeling time slow down just for a moment. And that's what AI cannot replicate. It can generate images of those experiences, but not the feeling of having lived them. It can show you shadows and sunlight, but it can't recall the warmth on skin or the ache of nostalgia when the day slips away. That is the one thing machines still don't understand, the felt memory of being alive. Ghibli works because it makes us feel human. It reminds us of silence, of shadow, of tiny details that carry enormous weight. Machines can imitate the surface, but they can't understand being human. Let's try something together. For the next 5 seconds, pause. Don't look at the screen. Just listen to your room. That stillness you just felt, that's Ma. That's the space Studio Ghibli treasures. And it's the piece that AI cannot create. If you want more deep dives into art and AI, subscribe for future essays. And tell me in the comments, which Ghibli moment makes you feel most alive?